Yes. Busy director's report. The next item on the agenda is administrative items. We have the annual progress report on implementation of the housing element of the general plan. And is that Diana?
That will be Diana, yes.
Gee, I guess I don't have any visuals. Let's see.
It was an excellent staff report.
The city is required to report to the state each year its progress in implementing the housing element of the general plan. This report covers issuance of building permits for housing units and implementation of housing element policies in calendar year 2005. In 2005, the city issued building permits for 97 units, including 10 low-income, 6 moderate-income, and 81 market-rate units. The city has met 200% of its overall housing need allocation, 70% of the very low income, 59% of the low income, and 69% of the moderate income goal. This leaves 162 affordable units needed. Projects that have been approved, applied for, and just discussed should probably include about 266 affordable units. If they all get built if they get building permits before the new goals are issued in 2008, the city might meet its goals. The city is implementing most of the housing element goals, preserving existing housing stock, promoting a variety of housing types and affordability levels, and promoting equal opportunity in housing. The goal of promoting housing for special needs groups has been partly met. The city has offered assistance to teachers, city staff members, and artists, and supported development of some affordable 3-bedroom units and units for disabled people. The city has not been able to support development of transitional housing for single-parent families or disabled veterans, or shelter plus care units, or affordable assisted living and independent living for seniors. We have a new senior project happening, but there are no affordable units. It's hard to meet these needs because state and federal funding for special needs programs has been reduced. The cost of land and construction have increased. The nonprofit housing and service providers who typically build and operate these projects have limited funds, and city policy focuses on for sale mixed income housing, which is not the usual model for meeting these special needs. So that's our report, and we're looking for your comments and your recommendation regarding approval of the report.
I have one question. I have a question about what is the number of affordable units proposed at the Ambassador? On one place it's got 6, and another place it's got 22, and on the other staff report it said 55.
Oh, we don't have the same number?
It is, I think it's 55 units, and it's 49% affordable is what's being proposed, so I think that's 27.
Okay.
Are you saying this report has different numbers in 2 places?
Yes. Page 3, there's a chart that says 6 affordable units out of 55, and then page 4 of the, well, the pages are a little off.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of other places it says 22.
It was 22 until just about a month ago, so
And
that
it
probably
changed to 6?
explains, right. So then
Okay.
6 more, or 5 more were added.
Yeah, good.
Any other questions?
I have a couple of questions
Go
for
ahead, Patty.
Diana. This is on the page 7 of the annual progress report under policy 2C-3, and this is encouraging energy efficient water conserving construction, and discussion that the projects are now to be in compliance with the Alameda County multifamily green building guidelines. And my question is, I'm presuming then that all the projects that come before us that are multifamily, when we see them, they are in compliance?
It's not really a thing that to be in compliance with or not. It's a set of guidelines similar to LEEDs. I don't think I can say what LEED stands for, but it's you can get points for being better and better and better. And what we require at this point is just for the applicant to say on the drawing how many of these requirements they meet. So it's a way of getting them to start looking at these guidelines. They're not
Okay.
requirements, they're guidelines.
Okay, well, it would be great to do that because at this point, I don't recall any of the things we've seen so far coming in with that kind of information. And I would imagine it's for all multifamily, or is it a certain size? So, for example, if it's a
think it's for
3-unit
all.
building, we should know, for example, if it's proposing any of the design considerations that are recommended in the Alameda County Green Building, multifamily green building guidelines. That would be useful for us to have that if you could, in staff reports, provide some sense of, are they proposing anything from these guidelines? Because at this point, I don't feel that I've seen anything that's come in where they're proposing any of that. And then secondly, under Program 3-A-3, development of affordable 3 to 4 bedroom units for large families. Do we have any sense that these units are actually going to large families? Or I know we've had discussions here at the commission level in the past about someone buys it and rents it out to college students. Is there any way that the city is being able to report back that in fact these units are being purchased by large families?
I can check with Amy Heastand on that.
That would be good to know.
And somebody asked me earlier today, can you buy an affordable unit and rent it out? And I promised to check with her on that too.
That would be good.
You can't. You need to be the primary occupant.
Okay.
So that takes care
So
of
that's in the
Affordability.
so it's in the deed that when you
Right,
purchase?
right.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm actually curious about Program 3B2 on page 9, which is an incentive program for low to moderate income district teachers and moderate income police and fire department staff. Do you have any idea how many individuals have taken advantage of that program, if any?
I don't. I can ask Janet Anderson.
Okay, I'm curious about that. I was also wondering on page 3 of the progress report, you've got a table of 2006 activity, and you identify the BRE gateway, which contributes the largest number of total units, both for the overall units and the affordable. Is that the tower BRE design, or is that the apartment complex project? I think there was a significant difference in the total number of units. I'm just curious which plan was included in that summary table.
I'm not sure if that reflects the latest version.
Okay.
This looks like the,
It
This
was
look-
the tower.
yeah, this looks like the tower design.
The last point I wanted to make was under Program 1B2, which is the Emeryville is Proud Award Program. When I first served on the commission, that was still active. And I think it's actually a great program to recognize people who are putting effort into their property, whether it's residential or commercial. And we've got a secure city hall now. I know there was a period when we were in the other space and it was difficult to even put the photographs and the display up. But I think it'd be a nice thing to have at City Hall, maybe when you enter the building or somewhere. And I'd like to see that program resuscitated and brought back to the commission and the council, because I think it's a great way of patting people on the back for their hard work and fixing up, especially some of the older neighborhoods. So I noticed it's an inactive program right now in the report, and I don't know how the rest of the commission feels about it. It's a pretty simple, what we did previously was took nominations, and I think there was a vote of the commission and the council, and the property owner was acknowledged at a subsequent meeting. And it's kind of cute, and I think it's a nice way to give people some positive feedback on their efforts.
Didn't we discuss this maybe at the last meeting, or was it 2 meetings ago?
Did
We discussed this program,
Oh,
and maybe Buzz made a comment about
I don't
some.
remember that. You-
Maybe it was a council meeting. Nora might
I
know,
think
but
it must have been a council meeting.
somebody mentioned that there was one of these plaques at a house, and the house had, had definitely started losing its
Oh,
appeal,
it's-
and
Oh,
yet
okay.
there laid the plaque because there were there was nothing in place to kind of make them uphold.
Oh,
It might have been a housing committee meeting.
Oh, the Housing Advisory Committee, that's
Yeah.
right, we did talk about
yeah,
it.
I think when I was involved, we didn't have plaques. You got a photograph of you standing next to your house, and it was put down in the lobby somewhere, and you got a paper certificate, I think.
Yeah, there's a couple of houses on Adeline, I think Adeline and 43rd.
That actually have plaques on the fence.
They have the
or
plaque
something?
out on the front, and it says, Emeryville proud, and rightly so. That house is really nice, and it's well kept, and I enjoy the program too. So I agree. I can think of a really big building on 46 and Adeline. I'd like to have a nice big building, a big plaque on there.
Okay.
Just
On the east side?
yeah, right on the east
Oh,
side, I
okay.
think.
Yeah, I would support Jim's recommendation, especially with a lot of the new development that's coming out. And, if we're encouraging buildings to go green and we're emphasizing quality architecture, particularly if we start looking at high-rise type of architecture, we'd like to see something that demonstrates, outstanding architectural design. And for those developers that are willing to take it to that level, I think they should be acknowledged for that.
Now, that's a little different thing from what the program was before. It was about maintenance.
Right.
Oh, maintenance. Oh, well, I would like to see it expanded then, that we can acknowledge and recognize new development.
Yeah. I'm not asking for a change in your report right now. I just
Sorry,
think
Jim.
it's something that would be nice to have happen.
Well, that's why we do the report, so brings things up.
Let's resuscitate that program. I like it too.
Absolutely. And maybe broaden it to go beyond just housing.
Yeah, I like Patty's idea as well. Another item.
Sounds good.
Any other questions or comments to Diana?
Is Avalon the only senior housing development that's been developed here in Emeryville? No?
Recently, there's, what's the other one?
Emeryville, yeah, on San Pablo Avenue between 43rd and 45th.
Oh, yes, that's right.
Thanks, Diana. Great staff report. We're on to item 6, which is public hearings. We actually